Welcome back to the Blue Blasterbot channel, where Miriam just shut down. So let's pour some salt in the wound by reading Sonichu number 2. When we last left off, we showed the origin of Shadow Chew at the hands of Giovanni, Dr. Robotnik, and Christian spelled backwards. And what did they do after their first plan was foiled? Disappear into nothingness because they never pop up again. Except Natesurk, he keeps coming back. That's right, the evil mafia boss and mad scientist go completely MIA for the rest of the series to make room for Chris's other ideas. What are they? Well, we'll just have to find that out soon, won't we? But first, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't know what to comment, you don't have to tell me twice, but during the Stone Age, ... Anyway, let's get into it. Episode 7, Sonichu Ancient Prophecy. Which, by the way, no, that was not Chris not learning how to spell, it was a stupid pun. Sonichu's dicking around in some field when he notices something called the Destiny Cave, which sounds like a rejected Sonic R track because it doesn't start with the letter R. Apparently only the creature and master of prophecy are allowed in. What's stopping anyone else from entering this Destiny Cave?
Shut up!
Presumably this old guy keeps everyone else out, but I don't see how. Whatever. The old guy recognizes Sonichu as the creature of prophecy and tells him to go get Chris to come over with him. This sets off absolutely no red flags in Sonichu because the dumbass never learned the meaning of stranger danger, or too good to be true, or any basic survival skills for that matter. If Sonichu saw a van marked free candy, he'd jump right in that bitch without a second thought. Hell, not even Chris seems to believe this shit at first, but Sonichu manages to convince him to go with Herbert the Pervert into this dank, secluded, dilapidated, empty cave with no cell service and no means of contacting anyone else in case of an emergency. Thankfully, the comic doesn't go down that road, and instead of trauma, Chris and Sonichu learn the ancient prophecy, which is that Chris will create Sonichu, take his medallion made from Crayola model magic and acrylic paint, shove it up his ass, shove it on a pedestal, which will somehow give Chris powers, give two other Chodes powers, and release an ancient evil the three Chodes with powers will have to fight. So, by finding the cave, they've essentially released the villains into the world. Sonichu even realizes how stupid this is. Chris assures him this isn't his fault, but doesn't elaborate on how, before the cave guy does the ritual which sends Chris to meet an ancient ancestor who claims to be a chief of the Cherokee clan. Despite being whiter than a clan meeting in a snowstorm and dressing like a Roman soldier, he gives Chris this big ol' spiel about how to use his powers responsibly and blah de blah de blah. Chris then transforms into Chris Chan Sonichu. Chris is ecstatic, but Sonic is disturbed. Yeah, you and me both, buddy. It seems even he knows his role in the story is changing. And they both zap out of the cave. Wes Isley and Sarah Hammer also get their own Sonichu medallions, with the episode ending with an ad for Axe body spray, which is apparently the only thing Chris used to bathe his nasty ass back then. Side tangent, but Axe body spray smells like a skunk died behind a Denny's. Also, this is the precise moment Sonichu now plays second fiddle in his own story and does not get the spotlight until way later. Episode 8, Christian Chandler in Chaos and Serenity. Wes Isley, who looks like an egg in a sweatshirt, gets told by his own ancestor, a wizard, that he must fight Chris Chan because they were rivals in past lives. It doesn't even take that much convincing, it's just, hey, jumps this spurg. Why? Because we're rivals in past lives. I bet that dude's mad cringe. And if you think that's bad, wait till you see Sarah Hammer's reason.
Hey, I'm the Queen of the Cherokee.
What?
You gotta suit the soul of Chris and Wes Isley, and also fight an ancient evil Chris released.
That's stupid.
It's destiny, now get out of here.
We then cut to Chris and Sonichu training when Wes tries to ambush Chris with fire attacks, before we get what may be the most infamous panel in the entirety of Sonichu next to the phallic straw. This panel is hilarious, I shouldn't even need to explain why. Just fucking look at this shit. Oh my god. Afterwards, Fire Sonichu and Chris Chan the Pineapple argue for a bit. Chris plays a Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap card, which gives Chris enough time to Shazam into Chris Chan Sonichu. Wes manages to get the drop on Chris before Sarah Chu pins Wes to a tree that wasn't there before. The episode ends with a fucking Got Milk ad. Also, I forgot to write this in the script, but during Chris and Wes's argument earlier, Wes makes a reference to the Trail of Tears. Again, that's just how progressive Chris is. Episode 9, Chris Chan, Sarama, and Wesley in The Evil That Stomped CWCville. Sarah dumps Wes, seeing as he just tried to end the life of some spurg at the request of a wizard he dreamt up, as well as making light of a historic tragedy, and she gives Chris the crown of the Cherokee that neither of them owned in the first place. Sarah then reminds the audience that there's a prophesized evil that they have to fight. They then fly off to fight a golem being controlled by Mary Lee Walsh that's attacking CWCville. Real quick, Mary Lee Walsh was the Dean of Student Affairs at Chris's college. The reason she's a villain in this is because she tore down Chris's attraction signs in a vain attempt to get it into Chris's skull that this is not the way to find a girlfriend. Alas, her efforts were rendered moot, and her reward is being drawn as this villain. Also, another side tangent, that yellow on her head is supposed to be a helmet. Due to Chris's inability to draw, everyone thought she was a blonde succubus for the longest time. Anyway, the fight has all the tension and intrigue of a kindergartner's game of t-ball, not unlike every fight thus far and every fight after in this series. In the epilogue, it's revealed that Sarah has a new boyfriend named William, Chris mentally makes this face, and that's about it. I guess the ancient prophecy was as legit as Soulja Boy's game consoles. Chris ends the episode with a page-long dedication to Sarah Hammer. That's about it, aside from a sub-episode that I already stated twice will be covered in issue 4. Like, comment, and subscribe for that, and I'll see you later. God bless, Godspeed, and stay frosty out there.
This is back in that 89,